Hello everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In today's video, I'm going to be taking something I found at the dollar store for $2.50 Canadian, a Dollarama, and I'm going to be boosting it up into something that's glammy and modern by using the DecoArt Americana Enchanted line of paints. Now, in a previous video, I did a demonstration on what these paints look like, and I'm just going to quickly bring them out. And on a black surface, they look like this. I did some color mixing demonstrations, and these are the shimmers. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to address problems with this piece here on how to get around it, and then I'm going to use the, in combination with the DecoArt chalky gesso, I'll explain that in a second, the ultra black base coat paint, and then the enchanted blue, green, and then the enchanted shimmer blue. So okay, I'll talk about that in a second. And I'm also going to be using DecoArt medium, matte medium. So okay, so the thing is that I have to say stuff from the dollar store isn't top quality, and this being plastic, I have no idea what it's made of. So normally what I would do with something like this is, first of all, wash it, soap and water, let it air dry. Then I would come up with a rubbing alcohol. I usually use something above 70% rubbing alcohol, and I would go all over the place to remove any oily residue. And even with that, it feels kind of funny. So another option is to sand it. I don't know what this is made of. Okay, it's on the thing, it says it's Halloween. It doesn't say exactly what it's made of, so I don't know if what's in it. So I won't sand this. So instead, what I'm going to do is, even with the cleaning with the rubbing alcohol, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a layer of matte medium to the whole piece and let that cure for just for about an hour or so. Then come in with the DecoArt chalky gesso, which is what you use as a base for painting, and it helps paint stick and it creates that adhesion. Now the other thing is that if you don't have the matte medium, the other thing I was looking for, and I can't find it since I've moved into a smaller room, is the DecoArt decoupage medium, the matte finish. That's what I would have used on this. Can't find it, so it is what it is. So I'm going to use the matte medium. So the goal of using these two is to create that adhesion. So when I put the paint on, that, if I have to pick this up and move it, that the paint isn't going to peel off. And that's something common that happens with plastic. So that's the whole purpose of the priming. Now, the paints is, once I put the black gesso on, I can come in with the ultra black base coat paint. I myself prefer the look of the chalky gesso, and I did this demonstration as well, and I don't know if you can see that. So that's the chalky gesso, and that's the ultra black base coat. I'm liking the look of the chalky gesso. That's just me. So you can use this. What I'll do is I'll use this on probably the back side just so we can see what it looks like. Then when I come in, I'm going to do a color mix of using the enchanted blue and green, because I don't want anything that's too blue, and then I'm going to overlay in some areas the actual shimmer. All right. Okay. So I'm going to do this right on here. So Halloween is coming up next month, but I'm into steampunk and Day of the Dead, and I love sugar skulls, and so I thought this would be a really cool thing, because this can stay in my studio. Actually, it's going to go into my office, my home office, all year round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flat brush, and I'm going to go in with the matte medium. Now I've already cleaned this. My hands are clean. There's no oils on my hand. And I'm just going to come in and just put that on top. Now the problem is that when you're doing this, is that you get these little pockets of medium in here. So then you have to come in and, try to figure out. I'm going to come in with a brush, trying to figure out how to get those holes empty, and, that's fine. So what I could do is I could take my bristle brush and come in and just pounce on top. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So these are great for applying the initial base coat, but not, you know, when you've got stuff that's got a lot of hole in it. And if you put too much on, you get a lot of product. So make sure you kind of tap off. It's similar to when you do your stenciling. So now if you're using one of these, and if you guys know where I can get these that are made of wood, oh, let me know. Or even of metal. So, you know, if you're doing this, regardless of what the subject is, if you're working on plastic, you have to make sure that you're working with something that's clean. And then if you're using something that's made of wood, raw wood, you want to prime it first, because what I found with the problem with the ultra black base coat on the paper is that the paper just absorbed the paint, and I used up 3 times more product with this versus using 1 coat of chalky gesso and then 1 coat of the base coat paint. So that's what I found with that. I don't know why I always put stuff on my left side. All right, so I'm just going to continue on doing this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit for about, because you can't speed up the drying time of this with the heat gun. First of all, plastic melt. Second of all, I don't know if this is BPA free. I bought this just for the demonstration and how nice it looks. If I was to teach a class on doing this, I would find something that's BPA free, because I have no idea what this stuff is. And when you ask the people at the dollar store, they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue. But the BPA free is, you know, you want to make sure that if you are going to heat something up, that, you know, you're not going to release those toxic chemicals, but we're not going to heat this up. But I love the look of this. Joe doesn't know I'm doing this, but he's not a fan of this type of stuff. But he is a huge fan of the colors I'm going to be using. So I'm just going round and round, and it's critical to make sure your hands are clean when doing this. You don't want to be transferring any residue from your hands. I know it sounds kind of gross. You don't want to transfer any oily residue from your hands over to the piece. All right, so I'm going to continue on. And when we come back, it'll have cured for at least an hour, because it's hot out right now, and I don't know when I'm done doing this. I'm going to open the window. It's very hot, and I'll see how long it takes to dry. And then when it's dry, then I'm going to wait another hour. And if you've got the time, let it sit overnight, because that way it'll be cured for sure. Alrighty, so I will see you in a bit. Alrighty, so it's all dry. It took an hour and a half for this to dry. So now I'm thinking I could probably just go ahead and paint on this, but because I want to do this as an experiment as well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the shapes back here. So there's a shape here, and I'm going to paint it with the DecoArt Americana Enchanted, the ultra black base coat paint. And then I'll take, let's see, another shape back here, and I'll paint it with the DecoArt Chalky Gesso Black, just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to grab this stencil brush, and just to see, because I want to see how it works with the plastic, because I've never painted on stuff like this before. Okay, so this is the ultra black base coat. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'm not going to pick any shape. I'm just going to paint it on. Because if I can tell once it's painted, if there's a difference in the finish, well, then I know what it's going to be about. So I'll just paint this area right here. Because with the matte medium on there, it really created a very matte finish. So I'm not sure if the intensity of the black will make a difference. I have no idea. That's why I'm just going to do, so when I paint this, it'll be 3 finishes. One with the ultra black, one with the gesso, and one with just the matte medium. Okay, so that takes care of that. So put that in there and get another brush. All right, so now I've got some of that gesso in here. Oh, let's do the front. We'll do his or her crown. I'll just pop that on there. And just make sure you use little paint. I use too much. It's gone in the hole, so that's okay. I can always... Oh no, that's a pattern. I thought I filled up the holes. So when this was drying, so Joe and I went back out and I went to a different dollar store. Home Depot had nothing. Went to a different dollar store and picked up a lot of stuff. So the whole goal of with this particular series is taking stuff that's relatively inexpensive and how to take it up another notch and to basically resell or give it away as gifts. I'm not saying you have to be cheap and do dollar store stuff. I'm just doing this because I couldn't get to Value Village to actually upcycle, you know, antique stuff or whatever. You can, it's anything. And I mean, heck, if where you are, if they're garage sales, you can pick stuff up there and upcycle. Okay, so that takes care of that one. So I'm going to put that lid back on there. All right, so now, well, that's dry already, this one here. Okay, did it change the finish? It's more matte, even more matte, using the ultra matte, because this is the matte medium here. And that's the ultra black base coat paint. So it seems even more of a matte finish. But the gesso, I probably should have did them side by side. Here we go. I don't see much of a difference between the gesso and the ultra black base coat paint. So we'll see what happens. Now to apply the color, so I'm going to create a bit of a mix. And what I did is I put out the, okay, make sure I get this right. So I put the gold, the blue, the green, and then the enchanted shimmer. So this is the shimmer. But between these two, I want to take half of that, and I want to create a mix. Because you can't really tell unless you take this and put it on black paper, you can't tell what this is going to look like. But the beauty of this is that we can go with 2 layers on this to really make it strong. And I'm just going to take my little brush and grab my, what can I do this on? Do I have something that's painted black on one side? Okay, well, let me do it here. Color mixing experiment. I'll do it on this one. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, nice. Because the, what's the other one? Not that one. The turquoise, it's too much on the green side. I want something a bit more blue. So that turned out really nice. Okay, so that takes care of that. So I'll put that aside, rinse that. And I'm going to use a cosmetic sponge for this. I have no idea if this is going to work. If not, I'll just go back with the problem with the bristle brush is that it creates a lot of texture. So let's see. I'll do this first. Ooh. That's nice. This is going to take 2 coats. So what I'm looking at for this is to apply this mix to the entire skull. And then I'm going to come in with, Joe told me, he goes, right, this would be really cool, gold around the eyes. And then I'm going to come in with the shimmering probably on the teeth. I don't know. This is drying really fast because it's so hot in here. Now, do they have... Okay, I didn't pick it up, but I'm wondering if there was a white for the teeth. But then it would take away from the modernism of the piece. Modernism. Okay, so the chalky gesso now is drying is really flat. A really flat matte finish. Look at that. So that's the matte medium. That's the, uh-oh, she's barking. So there's the chalky gesso, and there's the ultra black base coat paint. I'm still loving the gesso more. That's my go-to now for gesso, is the chalky gesso. I just love the finish on it, and it just seems to really hold paint well. All right, so now while I go ahead and do this, this is the same steps all the way through. I'm going to continue on with this, and you can choose to just skip ahead to the next section or just continue to watch me do this. But what I will do is I will speed up the video because there's nothing new being taught here. It's just taking a little cosmetic sponge and applying it. Oh, I love that. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that that's really cool. I love that. All right. So I put 2 coats over, and by the time I finished everything, it was already dry. So I went back around again. So 2 coats, and so that looks really cool. All right. So now what I need to do is I'm going to take the same sponge, and it shouldn't be too dry. And actually, this might be a little. That might be a little bit big. Let me cut this. Oh my goodness. Oh. Let me cut this down. I want to do the teeth. So the teeth in the shimmering blue. Now the beauty with this is if I don't like the look, I can always paint over it. Look at that. By luck, it's the perfect width. So this shimmering blue, okay, it's got, looks like it's got micro glitter in it. And I'm not going to go right to the very top because you naturally would want a shadow underneath. So that's okay. And then, okay, I'm going to do this with a brush. Now, a smaller brush with the gold. And because Joe wanted it. Oh, I'm not sure if I like it with the gold. No, I'm not liking this. No, I'm not liking it with the gold. No, going back to my original. Oh, but I ran out of paint. Oh, you know what? What if I just take this shimmering blue? It's going to take probably a couple of coats for that. Because it's really going to stick out with the gold. Okay, well, let's see what that looks like. Because if I ruined it, basically I can just come in with another mix and see what that looks like. I'm just going to pad that. Blend that in so it's not such a harsh line. Not a fan. Okay, so let's go back to my original thingamabobby. So I'm going to take the blue, and it was equal parts. Blue and green. Mix those together. If I was a palette knife, where would I be? In the water. Well, Joe, I'm sorry. I'm just happy he took an interest. He actually picked out some stuff at the dollar store. He said, I want you to use this. Oh. When he does that, it's usually hard stuff. It's usually really hard. Oops, I used the wrong sponge. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a couple of layers around this. I used the wrong sponge. It looks pink now. It looks pink. Yeah, it's going to take a couple of layers to finish that. Sugar. Should have went with my gut instinct. But you know what? Now I know what will work and what won't. So I'm going to take the rest of the paint and I'm going to apply now a third layer because I don't want to waste the paint because it is drying really fast. So if I had a little container, I can put that paint in there and then reserve it to do another layer on the eyes. But I don't have anything, so I'm just going to paint this here. I can use the opportunity to clean up these edges here. So what I'm noticing is that where I had put the blue shimmer, it obviously wasn't dry and I used the wrong sponge. Look at the difference in color between that and that. Now, it hasn't dried yet, but it looks almost metallic. Or it's just could be just because it's wet. Where I'm finding where it's really grabbing is where it was where I put the black gesso on there. Okay, where the teeth are, I'm not changing those. Not gonna put any more paint on there. What's that? Oh, that's part of the mold. Oopsie. Now what I'm wondering too is if I had mixed a bit of gold in there. I might have to come in with the blue because now it's really light, but I'll have to check. See the difference between here and here? I may have to come back in with another layer It seems to be more violet now, and I'm thinking that could be because of the blue shimmer. Maybe it wasn't quite blue. I don't know, but we'll see. I still love it though. Love that. Very glammy. All right, so now I'll let that sit. All right, so what I learned from this is that the gold on top of the blue, no, doesn't work. So I'm going to put that over there. And the actual shimmer one, blue shimmer, that actually turned out quite nice. So I'm going to let that sit. So start off with that black, cheap plastic look to that. Look how beautiful that is. Now imagine that sitting there and you've got a candle. Well, no, not a real candle, like one of those little battery powder candles inside. If you want to put that in a window. All right, so I'm going to let this dry and cure for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to come back to see what it looks like. I came up with another idea. Now, I just took the blue and I'm just randomly going around, because what it's doing is it's shifting between the blue and the blue-green mix that I created, and it looks really cool. Like, this is more of a green, but look how I'm tilting it. It's shifting towards the blue. I love that. But that's what it ended up looking like. Just putting another layer of the blue. So the more layers you put on, the brighter it gets. What if I took a little bit of this shimmer and just put it along the back, just to see what it looks like? And just randomly on the back. That is gorgeous. So I love how I was able to mix this. But again, if I had not tested it on paper first, who knows what it would have turned out like. And by putting that blue-green mix on here and then coming in with the shimmer, it looks really nice. And it just didn't go all the way to the top, so it looks like there's a shadow there. Wow. All right, so I'm going to set up the table now with some craft paper so you can take a look at this without seeing all this other stuff on here. What do you think? Isn't that cool? Love how... I'm looking at this now. I'm not going to change it, but I think I would have liked this better with this color on the whole piece. I like this. I really like this. But look at that. So just taking, you know, oops, a dollar store cheapy plastic thing like looks like this, but now we've got that. Love that. So what I learned from doing this is that the matte medium works great for the adhesion. Again, it all goes back to the DecoArt Chalky Gesso, the black. I love that. That's going to be my thing. But again, it's a more, the whether you want to try using the ultra black base coat paint. It's not for me, but it's just I love the feel of this Chalky Gesso. So, and the beauty with this stuff is that you can paint it. The DecoArt lines are all interchangeable, so you can put this on top of just black acrylic or whatever. But and the other thing I learned was not gold. It just, no. I can still see a little bit of the gold here because the paint, is translucent, but I can see a bit of the gold here. But as I'm looking at this more and more, I'm wondering if I should just try this. Look at that. I wonder if I should try it just over the whole thing and see. I'll have to think about that one because I really like the way this is right now. I love the shimmer of the green, but look at that. And then you tilt it, you can see some parts that are green, some parts that are more blue, like right here. A bit more blue. And the blue looks almost like it's on a blue on the violet side. You got a bit of green and a bit of blue because I was alternating the colors in the third layer. But there you go. So taking something, how much did that cost? $2.50 into something like that. And so I'd like to get your feedback on this. Is it now, even if you're not into skulls and you're not into Halloween, but does this give you some ideas of how you can take some thrift store decor pieces or even stuff at the dollar store, and how by adding these enchanted paints, does that give you some ideas on how you can, you know, bring it up to another level, upcycle, and then either gift it or sell it? Does that give you some ideas of what you can do with some of the pieces that you may even have lying around the house? So let me know in the comments below what you think. And you know, like the video if it was helpful to you, but more or less I want to really get your feedback on this. All right, so with that, I am finished. Until I see you in the next lesson, stay inspired.